Ever get that weird feeling, a nagging sense that something's just not right? That the world around you is subtly, almost imperceptibly, off-kilter? It's a feeling that can creep up on you slowly, like a fog rolling in, or hit you suddenly, like a jolt of electricity. It's the feeling that the reality you know, the one you've always trusted, might not be as solid as you thought, like this isn't quite your life, as if you're living a slightly altered version of your own story. You go through the motions, recognize the faces, but there's a persistent undercurrent of unease, a whisper in the back of your mind that says, this isn't quite right. Maybe it's a memory that doesn't quite fit, a detail that's changed, or a sense of displacement that you can't quite put your finger on. Maybe you slipped, and reality didn't notice. A tiny tear in the fabric of space-time, a momentary lapse in the matrix, and you found yourself in a slightly different dimension. A parallel universe that's almost identical to your own, but with subtle, unsettling differences. It's like waking up in a dream that's eerily familiar, but with a few key elements out of place. Some people say it's déjà vu, that fleeting feeling of having experienced something before, even though you know you haven't. Others say it's just stress, the mind playing tricks on you when you're overwhelmed, creating false memories and distorted perceptions. Psychologists have studied these phenomena for years, trying to understand the mechanisms behind them. But what if it's not you? What if it's the world that's off? What if these feelings aren't just glitches in your brain, but rather evidence of something larger, something stranger happening to the very reality we inhabit? What if the universe itself is shifting, changing, and we're just catching glimpses of these alterations? Millions remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. A global icon, imprisoned for his fight against apartheid, his death in captivity would have been a monumental tragedy. But he actually passed away in 2013, a free man, having served as president of South Africa, and a symbol of hope and reconciliation. Some swear they remember news reports, vivid images of somber anchors announcing his death, footage of grieving crowds and tributes from world leaders. They recall the collective mourning, the sense of loss that permeated the global consciousness. Mourning. A period of intense grief and remembrance, with memorial services held around the world to honor his life and legacy. People remember the outpouring of emotion, the shared sense of sorrow that united people across cultures and continents, even funerals, elaborate ceremonies with dignitaries and mourners from all walks of life paying their respects. They recall the solemn atmosphere, the flags at half-mast, and the sense of finality that accompanied his passing. Then there's the Berenstain Bears, a beloved series of children's books that have captivated generations with their heartwarming stories and charming characters. Many remember the name spelled with an E, or Berenstain, with an A seemingly minor difference but one that has sparked countless debates and fueled the flames of the Mandela Effect. For many, the A feels wrong, foreign, like a blatant alteration to a cherished childhood memory. Looney Tunes, not Looney Tunes, the classic animated shorts featuring Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and the rest of the gang. While the official title has always been Toons, many vividly recall it being spelled Toons, a seemingly more logical and phonetic spelling. Pikachu's tail never had a black tip, the iconic electric mouse from the Pokémon franchise, instantly recognizable by his yellow fur and lightning bolt-shaped tail. But many remember a distinct black marking at the tip of his tail, a detail that is simply not there in the current reality. C-3PO had one silver leg, the Golden Protocol droid from Star Wars, fluent in over 6 million forms of communication. While his body is predominantly gold, many remember him having a distinct silver leg below the knee, a detail that is often overlooked but stubbornly persists in the memories of many fans, and it's never been "Mirror, mirror on the wall," the iconic line from Snow White, spoken by the evil queen as she consults her magic mirror. But the actual line is "Magic mirror on the wall," a subtle but significant difference that throws many people for a loop. These aren't just typos, they're memories, shared by thousands, sometimes millions. Vivid, detailed recollections that defy explanation. People remember specific details, nuances, and emotions associated with these altered facts, making it difficult to dismiss them as simple misremembering. A glitch in human memory, or a glitch in reality itself? Are our brains simply misfiring, creating false memories and distorted perceptions? Or are we experiencing something far more profound, a fundamental shift in the fabric of reality that is affecting our collective consciousness? A man in Spain woke up, and everything felt wrong. He remembered working at a company that didn't exist, a successful career, years of dedication, all seemingly erased from the collective memory of those around him. His colleagues, friends, and even family had no recollection of the company he had devoted his life to. Had a girlfriend his friends didn't know, a loving relationship, shared experiences, all seemingly confined to his own personal reality. Even his own apartment key didn't fit the door, a simple physical manifestation of the disconnect between his reality and the one he found himself in. At first he thought it was a dream, a bizarre, unsettling nightmare that he would soon wake up from, but everything else matched. The familiar surroundings, the objects in his apartment, the reflection staring back at him in the mirror, same clothes. The same wardrobe he had carefully curated over the years, filled with clothes that reflected his personal style and professional life. Same ID, the same driver's license, passport, and other forms of identification that confirmed his identity and place in the world. Same name, the same name he had carried his entire life, the name that defined him and connected him to his family and heritage, just a different life. A subtle but significant divergence from the reality he knew, a parallel existence where key elements of his life had been altered, leaving him feeling lost and disoriented. Doctors called it dissociation, a mental disorder characterized by a disconnect between thoughts, feelings, and identity. But what if he slipped into a slightly different version of the world? A parallel reality where his memories and experiences no longer aligned with the collective consciousness. In the mountains of the Philippines there are stories, whispers passed down through generations, tales of the unexplained and the inexplicable, of a village that vanished. A remote community nestled deep within the mountains, seemingly swallowed by the earth overnight. Whole families disappeared overnight, leaving behind empty homes, abandoned fields, and a lingering sense of mystery. No signs of struggle, no evidence of foul play, just an eerie silence where a vibrant community once thrived. No records. As if the village had never existed at all. No official documentation, no birth certificates, no land deeds, nothing to prove that these people had ever lived. No ruins, no remnants of buildings, no foundations, no signs of human habitation. The land was as pristine as if it had never been touched by civilization. No warning, no natural disasters, no impending threats, no reason for the village to simply disappear. It was as if they had been plucked from existence without a trace. Travelers say they went looking for it, and found only jungle. Dense, impenetrable vegetation that had reclaimed the land, erasing any trace of the village. Then one day, the village reappeared. As suddenly and mysteriously as it had vanished, the village was back, nestled in its familiar location. Same people, the same families, the same faces, the same individuals who had disappeared without a trace, now back in their homes as if nothing had happened. Same homes, the same houses, the same architecture, the same familiar surroundings, untouched by time or the elements. No memory of being gone. The villagers had no recollection of their disappearance, no awareness of the time that had passed, no explanation for their sudden return. Locals called it a myth, a legend passed down through generations, a cautionary tale of the unknown, but others called it a reality slip, a momentary lapse in the fabric of space-time, a glimpse into another dimension, a reminder that reality is not always what it seems. A woman dreamt of a bridge collapse, a vivid, terrifying dream that felt incredibly real. In the dream she saw the color of the sky, a pale, ominous gray, the model of a passing car, a red sedan with a dent in the driver's side door. She felt it, knew it, a deep, visceral sense of impending doom, a premonition that something terrible was about to happen. Weeks later she was headed to that bridge, but froze. The same pale gray sky, the same feeling of unease. Something felt off, terribly, irrevocably wrong. She turned around. Against her initial plans, against the expectations of those around her, she made a split-second decision to change her course. The bridge collapsed just minutes later, a catastrophic failure of engineering, a devastating tragedy that claimed lives and shattered families. Coincidence? A lucky escape? Or did she remember the version of life where she didn't survive? A parallel timeline where she crossed the bridge and met her tragic end? There are places that show up on maps, and then vanish. Locations that are meticulously documented, charted and recorded, only to disappear from the face of the earth. Like Sandy Island, off the coast of Australia. It appeared on maps for over a century, a seemingly substantial landmass, clearly visible on nautical charts and geographical surveys. Even satellite images marked it, confirming its existence from space. Until a team went there, and found nothing but open sea. A group of scientists equipped with the latest technology and determined to verify the island's existence arrived at the coordinates and found only empty ocean. The island was erased, removed from maps, charts, and databases as if it had never existed. Or worse, it was never there. A cartographical error, a phantom island that had somehow infiltrated our collective consciousness. Just one of many phantom zones the world pretends to forget. Places that exist in the realm of myth and legend, locations that are whispered about in hushed tones, reminders that our understanding of the world is incomplete. Thousands of people claim they remember different spellings, subtle variations in words and names that defy logical explanation, different endings to movies, altered plot points, changed dialogue, scenes that simply don't exist in the current version, deaths that never happened. Public figures who are widely believed to have passed away, only to be revealed as still living. Have we all just misremembered? Are our brains playing tricks on us, creating false memories and distorted perceptions? Or are we syncing with something bigger, something beyond our individual consciousness, a collective awareness that transcends space and time, a collective memory from a collective shift? Are we experiencing a mass migration between parallel realities, a subtle but significant alteration in the fabric of our shared existence? Science calls it false memory, a cognitive phenomenon that can be explained by psychological and neurological processes. But what if memory isn't failing? What if it's trying to warn us? What if these glitches are not errors, but rather signals from another reality, attempts to alert us to the shifting nature of our existence? If you've ever felt like this world isn't yours, if you've ever experienced that nagging sense of unease, that feeling of being out of sync with reality, you're not alone. Some call it anxiety, a manifestation of underlying stress and worry. Some say it's trauma, a psychological response to a past event that has altered your perception of reality, but others believe we've shifted, that we have somehow crossed over into a different timeline, a parallel universe that is almost identical to our own, but with subtle, unsettling differences. In dreams, those fleeting moments when the boundaries between reality and imagination blur, when we glimpse into other worlds and experience alternate possibilities. In death, the ultimate transition, the final frontier, the moment when we shed our physical bodies and potentially cross over into another realm of existence. In pain, those moments of intense physical or emotional suffering that can shatter our perception of reality and open us up to new possibilities. We jump timelines. We navigate the infinite possibilities of the multiverse, shifting between realities with every decision we make. And we wake up just close enough to believe it, to believe that this is the only reality, the only possible existence. So if your life feels almost right, but not quite, if you're experiencing that persistent sense of unease, that feeling of being out of sync with the world around you, maybe you're not where you started. Maybe you've shifted, slipped, or jumped into a slightly different version of reality. Drop your glitch story in the comments, share your experiences, your memories, your encounters with the unexplained, and follow for more on Planet Unbelievable. Join us as we explore the mysteries of the universe, the anomalies of reality, and the strange and wonderful phenomena that challenge our understanding of the world.